Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling the snake plant. You know, the one that's supposed to be impossible to kill? Yeah, well, a lot of us have somehow found a way. So we're going to demystify its care once and for all.
So here's the paradox, right? These plants are famous for being tough, super resilient, basically perfect for anyone who thinks they have a black thumb. And yet, so many of them end up looking sad, droopy, and, well, dead. So what's the secret weakness of this supposedly indestructible plant?
The answer, and this is pretty ironic, is kindness. The number one reason these amazing plants fail is because we just care a little too much. We get overeager with our attention, especially with the watering can, and that hits its single biggest vulnerability, root rot. Okay, let's get into it. To really understand how to water your snake plant, you first have to understand what it is. And honestly, this one single fact changes everything. Your snake plant, it has a secret identity. It's actually a succulent.
So, what does that actually mean? Well, unlike your other leafy houseplants, the snake plant, or Sansevieria if you want to get fancy, it holds its water right there in those thick, sword-like leaves. It evolved to do this in the dry parts of Africa, which makes it incredibly good at handling drought, but really, really sensitive to sitting in wet soil. It just hates having wet feet.
And that brings us to this quote, which just nails the whole philosophy of snake plant care. Experts all say the same thing. These plants don't just put up with neglect, they literally thrive on it. The less you fuss over it, the happier your plant's going to be.
So how do we put this into practice? Let's break down the actual steps, because when it comes to watering snake plants, less is always more.
This right here is the golden rule. If you don't remember anything else, remember this. You only, and I mean only, water when the soil is 100% dry, all the way down to the bottom. This one habit will prevent pretty much every single watering problem you could have.
Now, the most common way to do it is top-down watering. First, you got to check that the soil is bone dry. You can stick your finger or a chopstick way down in there. Then, water the soil directly. Try to avoid getting the leaves wet, and keep going until you see water flowing out of the drainage holes. That's your signal to stop. That drainage is so important because it tells you the water got all the way through and the excess has a place to go.
The other popular method is bottom-up watering. For this, you just place the pot in a sink or a tray with a few inches of water and let it soak it all up through the drainage holes. The cool thing is, the roots will only take what they need. After maybe 10 or 15 minutes, you just take it out and let all the excess water drain away completely.
Okay, so you're probably looking for a hard and fast rule, a schedule you can put in your calendar, right? Well, a general starting point for many snake plants is to water them about every 2 weeks. But, and this is a big but, it is just a guideline. A fixed schedule is a total trap. 2 weeks is just a rough estimate. The only thing that can tell you for sure that your plant is thirsty is dry soil. You have to check the soil first, every single time.
And think about it. Your specific schedule is going to change all the time depending on its environment. If your plant is sitting in a bright, sunny window, it's going to get thirsty way faster. If it's hot and dry, same deal. And this is a big one. Plants need way less water in the winter when their growth slows right down. You might only need to water it once a month then.
All right, so now let's learn how to speak your plant's language. Your snake plant is going to give you some very clear signals when it's not happy with the water situation. You just have to know what you're looking for.
So, the signs for overwatering and underwatering are actually pretty different. Overwatering, which is by far the biggest danger, gives you soft, mushy, yellowing leaves. The plant is literally drowning. Underwatering is less common, but if that happens, you'll see dry, brittle leaves, maybe with brown tips, and they might start curling inwards.
Next up, let's quickly cover a few really common mistakes. These are things that people do thinking they're helping, but they can actually do a lot of harm to a snake plant.
I hear this one all the time. Should I be misting my snake plant to give it some humidity? I mean, it seems like a nice spa-like thing to do for your plant, doesn't it?
The answer is a clear and definite no. Snake plants are not tropical plants that are dying for humidity. Misting does absolutely nothing for them, and even worse, letting water sit on the leaves or pool at the base is just asking for rot. So yeah, you can put that spray bottle away.
And what about those nifty self-watering pots? You know, the ones that promise to take all the guesswork out of plant care? Seems like a perfect match for a low-maintenance plant.
And again, that's going to be a no. The whole point of those pots is to keep the soil constantly moist. And for a snake plant, which, as we know, needs its soil to dry out completely between waterings, well, that constant moisture is pretty much a death sentence.
But what if it's too late? What if you're looking over at your plant right now and it's looking a little yellow and sad? Don't panic. Even if you've made a mistake, there are absolutely steps you can take to perform an emergency rescue.
For an overwatered plant, you gotta act fast. It's time for some plant surgery. Get it out of the pot and get rid of all that wet, soggy soil. Take a look at the roots. If any are brown and mushy, trim them off. Then repot it in fresh, dry, well-draining soil in a new pot that definitely has drainage holes.
Now, if your plant is severely dried out, the best way to save it is with that bottom watering technique we talked about. Give it a really deep soak for about 20 minutes to fully rehydrate everything. Let it drain completely, snip off any leaves that are totally dead and brown, and then just give it a fresh start.
So let's just boil this all down into your recipe for success. Number 1, always remember its secret identity. It's a succulent. Number 2, live by that golden rule. Only water when the soil is completely dry. Number 3, a pot with drainage holes is absolutely non-negotiable. And finally, number 4, a great motto to remember. When in doubt, let it drought.
And that really brings us to the final takeaway here. Your snake plant is a natural-born survivor. The real challenge isn't learning some complex care routine, it's learning to just step back, fight that urge to overcare for it, and just trust the plant to do what it's been designed to do for millennia. So the real question is, can you learn to trust it?